Hey folks, welcome back to another Poem Master video, and again, for like the third time this week, I forgot this banner was dropping today but do forgive me, the schedule's been very hectic lately with the banners, right? So yeah, we are getting LILLIE CLEFAIRY's banner tonight, which I will be summoning live for, so tune in for that. That should be fun, hopefully. If it's as fun as the Gladian one, that would be very fun. Yeah, again, her banner is dropping later tonight. And let's go over the unit then. So, LILLIE, it's fairy type, weak to poison. It is a support, 5-star obviously. So going over the stats, keep in mind it's, support stats, so you would expect support stats, which she does deliver, right? 543 HP, not the best. I don't think her HP is anything amazing. Attack is irrelevant. Defense 226, defense 267 special defense, so very high special defense and very good defense as well. 226 special attack, which is actually okay-ish for a support, right? And she actually can do damage though, so this will be relevant in a bit. 170 speed is very bad. So in a nutshell, her stats good, very good defenses. Okay-ish special attack for a support. Mediocre HP and bad speed. So moving on to its set. Disarming Voice. Nothing you really need to know about Disarming Voice other than the fact that it never misses. It's 2 gauge and it's AoE, right? The damage does not matter because you will be using Disarming Voice for another reason. So, X Accuracy All, which is the first unit in the game that actually has X Accuracy All, right? It's +2 on your whole team's accuracy every time you use it. So, that's pretty interesting. Like, I see a lot of people saying X Accuracy All is not good, or not that good, whatever you want to characterize it as. I get it, but it's, on the other hand, I do think people are kind of discounting the fact that, well, you could use it in Vela, for one, which is really nice. Right? Since in most cases, you only need to use X Accuracy All once, for the max accuracy on whatever move, right? And the other thing that people have been talking about is, X Accuracy All is bad because it gives it to the whole team, and your whole team doesn't really need it. It's usually just one unit. And generally it is true, but there are some other cases where it would, your whole team would actually benefit, right? If you're, for example, running a striker with low accuracy, like, I don't know, for Alligator or something, right? And you also have something like Serene on your team trying to sleep the opponent, or Agatha, Hypnosis, right? You could increase the accuracy on that. That definitely would help as well. Yeah, so yeah, that's X Accuracy All. It's full team accuracy buff. Moving on, Full Power drastically raises allies' attack and special attack. Ensures the allies' next attack will be a crit. So there's two components to this. First is the first part, drastically raises attack and special attack. This is very good, right? Drastically raise attack and special attack is very good and very much needed in my opinion, because like before this, like there was only one refreshable physical attack support, right? Being Meganium, which is only like +1 unless you have it under Sun, which would be +2. So I definitely do like this. Definitely helps a lot of physical units out. However, it only helps out the physical units that already have crit buffs themselves, Dire Hit Plus or whatever, right? Because unfortunately, she does not give crit. She gives guaranteed crit, right? But it's only for 2 times unless you get refreshes, which is not the greatest. However, it is good for sync nukers, right? I guess a really good example would be, say, Barry. Barry, before you sync nuke, you could do some damage, but it's not like a huge deal, right? And plus, Barry has like +2 crit by himself, which is 80%, which is good enough, right? His main damage comes from him using a sync move, and sync moves crit rate is always -1 inherently. So if you're at like +3 crit, sync move will be calculated at +2 crit, which is only 80% in comparison to 100%. In Barry's case, if you don't get a MP refresh, right, it's going to be 50% instead of 80%. And if you give it an ensure crit, then that means it's going to be 100% on sync move, which is obviously much better and very helpful for units like Barry, right? Or other sync nukers. But outside of that, it's just not that great, right? Moving on, Moonblast, 98 base power, 3 gauge, 100% accuracy, moderate chance of lowering the target special attack. Basically the fairy type version of Shadow Ball, except with a higher chance to lower special attack, right? Moving on, and Chow Ball special defense. Sync move, nothing too special. 250, no additional effect. Passive skills, Group Dragon Guard, reduces damage of all allied Sync pairs take when attacked by Dragon type moves. This is mainly probably for Gladion, because here's the thing with Gladion can change its type, right? It generally doesn't have any issues when it's changing to any type except for Dragon type, because Gladion is weak to Dragon, which is an issue because if you're trying to face, the only Dragon weak Pokemon are Dragon types, so you're facing Dragon types, and then your weakness turns into Dragon type. So this is probably just to help Gladion, and that's why it's Group Dragon Guard and not Group, say, Normal Guard, which would be much more useful, right? Although I wouldn't say Dragon Guard's like not useful at all, because there are a lot of Dragon type moves in this game that hit pretty hard as well, right? Outrage. You see that a lot. Outrage hits really, really hard, so you definitely don't want to get too hard by an Outrage, which would help, right? As for some other stuff, Synchro Healing restores HP of all allied Sync pairs after using a Sync move. I'd assume this is 10%, right? Synchro Healing is actually, I like it a lot, because Lillie is a unit that you could make into a 6-star, and 6-star means you got that extra Sync move buff from the first time using your Sync move, and now you also got Synchro Healing. So not only do you buff your whole team's damage, you also heal while using a Sync move, right? And there's also something else on the grid that would benefit from that as well. Fainting Cleanse removes all status conditions from all allied Sync pairs other than the user just before the user faints. I don't like this one. I mean, okay, it could be useful, but like, if you're fainting, it probably means you're tanking with Lillie, which also probably means that no one else has a status condition. This is like borderline useless. Over here, Fainting Cleanse. All right, moving on to its Sync Grid. Its Sync Grid is nice. I mean, at base, I think it's one of the better supports. At base, right? I'd say without Sync Grid, I do think it's probably better than Sabrina. Unfortunately, with Sync Grid, Sabrina kind of blows out most supports on this game, right? She has some stuff in the Sync Grid. It's not like she doesn't. Like, when we're talking about the Synchro Healing, right? With the stuff that she buffs on her Sync move, she also has Adrenaline 1 as well. So that's another thing that you could add to in terms of upsides with syncing with Clefairy. There's some good stuff here, and let's talk about her damage for a bit, because I think they actually made Clefairy be able to do some damage because of the fact that we don't have that many, fairy type strikers in the game, right? We have Sylveon, which is very bad, unfortunately right now. Not good. And Jigglylyre is phenomenal, but Jigglylyre is also limited. Once a year at summer, right? So if you didn't get Jigglylyre, then you don't have any fairy type triggers. So that's probably why they made her that good. And also, same thing with Luzamine. Why people wondering, well, why did Luzamine get an ice type? It's probably to remedy the Ice Steven as well from the summer event. That's probably what they're trying to do. Anyways, for her damage, she has these pretty standard, Moonblast power-ups, which is a decent amount, and then Moonblast, Move Gauge Refresh over here. And then she also has Super Duper Effective 2, which I really, really like that they gave her Super Duper Effective 2, so it makes it clear that, we're doing this because, of fairy type weaknesses, right? We're not going to have you use her, fight anything else that is not weak to fairy type. The whole point of her getting this damage grid is because, again, we know that some people missed out on any fairy type striker, so we are here to help give you a fairy type striker. Thus, they're super duper effective too, right? We also have Brutal Clarity. More users actually is raised, more powers up moves, which is great as well. So you can, at max, an extra 50% buff on your damage springs. Like, if you're calculating that on the raw special attack stats, that should be like 339 special attack, which is, over 300, which is what a standard striker's damage would be, right? Again, it's nothing phenomenal, but it's does as much as any other standard striker, which is pretty good, right? So anyways, going over the rest of its kit, the more relevant parts of its kit, I guess. I mean, most people will be using it as a support, right? Because it's a great support. Let's first talk about Disarming Voice. So Disarming Voice, first of all, you have Move Gauge Refresh, which is nice, and you also have over here Disarming Voice on Unfortuitous 9. So it basically, Clefairy here does what Mew does with Swift, right? Decreases all the Yeah, or not, the whole enemy's team stats by random stat. Except this is Harming Voice, that one's Swift, right? So yeah, you basically get the Mew Swift thing with Clefairy as well, which is phenomenal. Everyone loves that, right? As for some other stuff, you got X Axial Catalytic Cure 9 restores users HP when a move is successful. So every time you use X Axial, it does heal you up. I'm not a huge fan of this though, just because like generally when you buff your teammates, you buff them at the start, and at the start you generally don't really lose too much HP. But I guess it's something. Anyways, moving on to some other stuff, we got Tighten Up and Toughen Up, which I do like. Moderate chance of raising users' defense and special defense. Both these, right? When hit by attack move. Since she doesn't really have defensive buffs on her kit, it's nice to have defensive buffs as passives on her grid, which is nice. Anti-Toxin is phenomenal. Escape Artist is great, right? And then she has Snow Shelter and Sand Shelter if you want to run her in Snow or Sand teams, which I do hope more and more supports in the future get on their grid. Just Snow Shelter and Sand Shelter, just so, we can run them on Snow and Sand teams. I mean, you could run them on them regardless, but they might be much better, right? And they cost, they cost like 3 energy each. So yeah, MP refresh on full power, X Axial as expected, and nothing else. Oh, there's Fainting Heal, which I really hate. Again, same thing with... Okay, Fainting Heal is like slightly better than Fainting Cleanse, because Fainting Heal you'll actually be doing something once you get knocked out, or right before you get knocked out. Technically, is the language. Yeah, I still don't care that much. I mean, if you have 3 units on your team, and if you were tanking with Clefairy goes down first. Okay, there's 2 more units in your team. Sure, you could do like some damage, but you won't be surviving that long, and it costs 10 energy, right? And if you weren't tanking with Clefairy, which means if Clefairy was like the second, unit to faint on your team, you're only like healing 1 unit, which very, very likely is your striker, which unless it's like Steven or something, against like physical moves, you will not be taking too many hits, right? And if you're using it as a striker's last one on your team, then obviously this is absolutely nothing. But yeah, not a huge fan of Fainting Heal. Everything else is fine, right? So anyways, yeah, that's me with this one. Hope you guys enjoy. Let me know guys think in the comments down below. Like and enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel for some more Poem Masters content, and I'll see you guys on the stream tonight, right? Good luck for anyone summoning on Clefairy, right? Okay, just coming back to that point before I go, because obviously I just have to elaborate on that. Like, here's the thing on Clefairy's banner that I forgot to mention. You do get like a support move candy token. So if you want that, then sure, you go for that. Clefairy is a very, very good offensive support. And oh yeah, because of the news of Singsu Blue, right? Singsu Blue buff. Maybe you want to summon on that a bit more. Like, obviously Clefairy is a better offensive support, but I think Blue is overall a better support. And Blue would be better in longer battles offensively as well, right? Since Blue actually gives crit. However, Blue doesn't give accuracy. Clefairy does. If you really, really need an accuracy support, then sure, you could go for Clefairy. I still don't think it's really worth it going just for that 1 move candy token if you don't want the unit anyways. But yeah, I don't think Clefairy is like a huge deal. Like, she's good, but she's not like Sabrina or Singsu Blue good, right? In terms of supports. Well, Singsu Blue is not that good right now, but once it does get its buff, right, which is what 10 days from now or something. But yeah, overall the banner it's okay. Again, if you like Lillie a lot, go for Lillie, right? But otherwise, it's you could live without it. I mean, you could live without anything, right? Any of these banner units, you still beat the game with free to play units, but that's besides the point. But yeah, anyways, yeah, I'll see you guys tonight when the thing drops.